heard a joke about a lawyer the other day. I'd like to share it with you. What do you call a lawyer with an IQ of 100?
A liar.
Well, that's good. Actually, call him Your Honor. And what do you call an attorney with an IQ of 50? Senator. Well, I used to sell Prepaid Legal back in 2001. They've since changed their name to Legal Shield. And I became very passionate about this plan because I love the fact that for a small monthly affordable price, I can have my attorney call unlimited number of times anyone who's giving me a problem, have them write a letter unlimited amount of times, have them review contracts up to 10 pages, and the list goes on and on. You have free will. So I want to ask a question out there. How many of you have actually had to deal with an attorney? How many have had to call an attorney? Wow, that's a lot of people. Do you mind if I ask what for? It's not too personal. Like, who wants to volunteer? Yes.
Disability rights.
What?
Disability rights.
Oh, disability rights. And how much did he charge you for that consultation?
0.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And how'd that happen?
Well, because, well, I don't want to interrupt. It's your speech.
Sure. Anyone else? Yes.
Car accident.
Car accident.
Okay.
Well, of course, they work on contingency with that, right? Yeah, well, most attorneys charge $200 an hour. And the problem with in America is that the average citizen doesn't have access to the legal system. You know, how many know what DWB means? Anybody? Really?
Driving wild.
Yes.
Wild.
Blonde, bald. No, driving while black. Black people usually, you know, if you're in the wrong neighborhood and you're, you know, and it's not just the color of your skin. It could be the condition of your car. It could be, you know, how loud your radio is. In other words, you can be pulled over anytime for any reason. And what are you going to do if you are? You know, Prepaid Legal has a 24-hour emergency hotline that if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you are driving while black or driving while Arab, you know, 9/11, I used to get frisked a lot at the airport because, you know, my last name was a Middle Eastern name, and I had this big black bushy beard, and I had, you know, a lot of hair, so, you know, I was being racially profiled, but I didn't mind. But think about if you're driving in the middle of the night and this cop pulls you over and it's not going well, and but you're smart, you have a prepaid legal plan, and so you're secretly dialing on your phone, and when he's asking you to get out of the car, you hand the phone to him, you say, my lawyer wants to talk to you. You know, because I know of somebody who actually went through this, and the attorney asked him, why are you pulling over my client? You know, what proof did you have, blah, 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 blah. Bottom line is, they let him go. Now, what could have happened if that wasn't the case? How many times have you driven by and you see somebody, you know, sprawl out on the floor, face down in the concrete? Who knows what's going on there? You know, that could be you next time. Just because you happen to match a description, your car happens to match a description of a robbery that was down the block or something like that. So basically, what is the color of justice? It isn't black and white. It's really green. You can have as much justice as you can afford. So that's the beauty of prepaid legal. They gave you access, they gave the average person access to the legal system. The average attorney charges $200 an hour. The average wage earner probably doesn't even make $20 an hour. So I mean, how are they going to get involved? How are they going to get representation? Well, like I said, for a small monthly affordable fee, you can now have all these services done for you. I want to ask another question. Everybody stand up if you could, if it wouldn't be too inconvenient. I want to know
I'm
how
standing,
many,
by the way.
okay, how many of you believe that you've ever been treated unfairly? If you have, sit down.
I'm now sitting down.
Okay. How many of you have ever been sued? Sit down. How many of you ever signed a contract that you later regretted, or signed anything that you later regretted? Sit down. How many have ever been overcharged on a repair? How many of you have ever gotten a traffic ticket? Look around. I know what you're thinking. I don't need an attorney. You know, I've never used an attorney. That's not true. You do need an attorney. You just didn't realize it. What you didn't realize is that you need an attorney. You just can't afford an attorney. Well, now an attorney is affordable. You see, if you're ever going to need a lawyer, or actually let me say, it's not if you're going to need an attorney, it's when you're going to need an attorney. Even attorneys have these plans, and you say, well, why in the world would an attorney have a plan? Well, because an attorney only knows about their specialty. But if he has a real estate question, and let's say he's a bankruptcy attorney, he can, for $17 a month, he can call Prepaid Legal and have access to any specialty attorney for not only him, but his entire family. So this is what the amazing part is. For $17 a month, you can have access to not just a lawyer, but an entire law firm. In fact, down in Los Angeles, Parker Stanford is one of the largest law firms in the country. And they specialize in everything. I mean, I'm a letter writer, I'm a book writer, I'm an author, and I love to write letters. When someone does something, you know, that is legally offendable, if that's a word, I write them a letter. That's the first thing I do. And even though I'm a great letter writer, they ignore my letters. So I call my attorney and they write a letter. And maybe his letter isn't any better than my letter, but his letter has a letterhead that has 40 attorneys on there. And I can give you example after example of how I have had countless letters written on my behalf and gotten satisfaction. I don't have time here, but I've more than paid for a lifetime membership of Prepaid Legal with all of the benefits that I received. Just the latest one was my wife's van. It was very high and went into the Westfield parking lot, and it scraped the top of their parking structure because it did have the height limit on there, but the sign was above the height limit. And so I called them up and I says, you know, you've got some liability here. And they says, sorry, we don't. Well, I had my Prepaid Legal write them a letter, and guess what? In 3 days, I got a phone call and a check after that. I just had to sign a release. So I want to remind you that it's not if something's going to happen, it's when something's going to happen. And you really need to do something today. Because if it happens, it's like an insurance policy. It's too late. You can't insure something that's already happened. So everybody go to LegalShield.com and sign up for this before it's too late. Thank you.